Remember Lily Blossom? I wouldn't blame you if you don't, honestly. As a brony myself, I'm fairly certain you haven't heard of her unless you were some sort of super fan of My Little Pony. I managed to find out about her existence back in 2011 when I was shopping online for new merchandise, and what do you know, she showed up in a Walmart listing for about 15 bucks. My first thought was, wow, she just looks like Derpy with wavy hair. She had that cheap, mildly inaccurate PVC feel that the usual figures for the show have, so I didn't really care for it, as I usually just collect things that have quality in each stitch or chisel. However, at the time, my niece's birthday was coming up somewhere around the weekend. Based on a few Google searches I've made, this little toy was brand new and currently hibernating on the shelves in stores, so I drove to my nearest Walmart and bought it anyway, along with a few ingredients for her birthday cake. I do recall one of the shelves in the toy section being choked with MLP figures, with a fourth of them being of Lily Blossom. I assumed they were just trying to get rid of her as they had too much in stock, but apparently that wasn't the case. At all. Around 5 days after I bought the toy, my niece unwrapped it during her birthday party and seemed to be thankful for it, which was a relief. She even ran to her bedroom after her party was over and added it to her playset. I could hear her reenacting the characters and giving Lily a voice of her own while me and my family were having cake, which was a nice thing to hear. That weird little plastic pony didn't last long in her grasp, though. Not even 2 days after I got her that toy, I got a call from my mom telling me that my niece wanted to talk. She gave the phone to her and she started telling me that Lily turned into Fluttershy while she was sleeping. I could feel question marks buzzing around my head when she said that. I don't understand. How can a pony figure made entirely out of colored plastic transform overnight? I told her that she must have been having a weird dream, but then she replied saying that she woke up to 2 Fluttershy figures on her play table. My sister even took the phone back and clarified that she was telling the truth. I wired my sis 20 bucks from my bank account as an apology and went on 4chan. Yes, I used that back in 2011, to talk about my weird experience, albeit in a goofy, simplified sort of way like all the other storytellers on that site are. I ended up getting the most confusing responses. Some users responded saying that Lily Blossom didn't exist and that I was spreading misinformation, or that I may have been dragged into the Mandela effect. I should have expected that, as this forum is notorious for having complete dickheads for users, but for some they had a different story. There were a few others coming in to tell me that they had the same thing happen to one of their family members, to which more users that didn't know the full story called bullshit on. I know for a fact that I bought a toy for my niece with that exact name. I know I wasn't crazy. I decided to try and prove it by taking my camera to the store that I bought the toy from, so I can get a snapshot of the toy shelf. When I arrived, the shelf had literally every character that was being sold before, except Lily Blossom. Asking the manager of the store went absolutely nowhere either, because when I asked her if the store had any and she went to her computer, she didn't even say that the toys were sold out or that they didn't sell them. She literally said, and I quote, "Are you sure you're not looking for Fluttershy? We didn't put up any listings for a character with that name. We didn't get anyone with that name in stock either." Pictures of her didn't show up on Google Images despite how many there were before. Every listing I saw on each shopping site, not just Walmart, was taken down. As a last resort, I contacted Hasbro's customer service line, and even they didn't know what I was talking about, despite the fact that the packaging of the figures literally had their company name on it. This wasn't the only weird occurrence I saw. As mentioned before, I am a brony. I live alone and I watch FIM in my spare time, and thanks to my job, I managed to collect some fairly expensive and rare merchandise for the show. At one point, I was on the Hubs channel, waiting for the next episode to come on. I had some lunch prepared at that time and I was wiped out from work, as well as the strange occurrences that went down this past week. So I felt like this would help me get over things quicker. It didn't. In fact, it made things even more confusing as I never saw something like this again afterward. Lily Blossom appeared in an episode on the show that night. I think the name of the episode was Flood or Ditto or something, but I may be off. I don't remember everything that happened or what exactly they said, except for one thing, so I'll give a short rundown. From what I can remember, it was mainly about Fluttershy having a bad day and feeling less competent, before eventually bumping into Lily. Lily goes on to help Fluttershy earn her confidence back by giving her bits of advice, like how to make amends with other ponies or with animals that she accidentally ended up scaring. It would have been a wholesome experience if it weren't for that one scene. There was a part of the episode where, during a walk to Lily's home, Fluttershy asks Lily where she came from, as she didn't see anyone like her around Ponyville before, to which Lily responds with,
"Oh, Fluttershy, I'm from a place where the apple wasn't bitten into, and the snake never made his visit."
Lily was slowly turning her head and staring at the viewer as she said this, still innocent looking as ever, with some fitting, elegant music playing in the background. Fluttershy would quietly say "what" to her out of confusion, but then Lily turns her head away from the audience and interjects, saying that they made it to her house before the episode continued as normal. Moral at the end and everything. Upon looking through a few forums, including 4chan, to see if anyone had the same experience I did, to my surprise, many people saw the episode. People were mainly focused on that one quote that Lily made in the episode, as expected. Everyone who watched it was scrambling for answers, with a few people even attempting to contact Lauren Faust herself, only to get no responses. Ever. However, there was one lead on 4chan that intrigued me. This is what they said. It was a direct reference. The book of Genesis discusses how sin came to the earth. After the first man and woman bit into a fruit, it's assumed to be an apple from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Earth was filled with sin, all because a serpent, which is actually the devil in disguise, manipulated them into doing so. I have no idea why religious undertones would be mentioned in a show about cartoon ponies, but the world does wonders, I guess. It's been a decade since this happened. The episode never showed up again, with several people online claiming that it's a hoax. The Lily Blossom figures came back on eBay and Walmart, and she even showed up as a McDonald's toy a year after the oddity occurred, as well as a mobile game sometime after. It's almost as if nothing ever happened. I might be missing something here. Am I?